Hello, non-party people that are just relaxed and chilled, laying in their chairs and whatnot. It is now time for Shifty Sunday. Get ready, because it's going to be a tough one. Probably the toughest one we've had. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Shifty Sunday. This is your host that, likes toast and all that jazz. Hebrew77 speaking, along with my broadcast partner and good friend, Sagittarically speaking.
Speaking
Speaking of speaking, how you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing quite well, thank you. I mean, now that I got this new cool fancy intro, I feel like I'm living large, man. That was very impressive.
Why?
It just needs something at the end that goes like don 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 or something,
It kind of cuts out there at the end, doesn't it?
Yeah, it needs like a good closing, like drum or something, like something closing, like that's the end,
Oh yeah.
But other than that, oh my gosh, that was so impressive, man. That was really cool.
Thanks, man. And you know what? I kept it at 30 seconds.
Oh, okay. So you had a goal of 30 seconds or less.
That's right, man. Otherwise,
that was really sharp. I liked it a lot.
Well, thanks, man. It took me some time to do all that, and I appreciate it when people appreciate it.
I appreciate it when you appreciate me appreciating it.
Well, I appreciate that you appreciating me appreciating you appreciating it.
Well, I appreciate you appreciating me appreciating you appreciating it.
Okay, well, with all appreciations aside, it is good to be back on another Shifty Sunday.
Yes, it is. We survived another week of hell on earth, haven't we?
Oh yeah, man, it has been hell on earth. Let me tell you.
For some people it may really seem that way, but and for those people, I really do feel bad.
Oh yeah, I mean we're just joking around, but yeah, you're right.
So we do have an exciting show in store for tonight. We're going to talk about a controversial subject, from what I understand.
Well, we'll talk around it.
Oh, okay. Well, we should probably just get, just flat out have it out,
Well, I mean, you're right. You should we'll just get flat to the point.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess you're right. It's just in the big sphere of things, it's hard to have this conversation, It's so divisive.
But it is a round table discussion.
Yes, it's definitely a round table discussion. No matter how flat the surface of the table is, it's a round table discussion.
For sure, man. Hey, do you remember those little dividers they used to put in pizzas?
Yes, I do remember the little. You mean they don't put them in pizzas anymore?
Well, they do, but they're no longer round.
Huh? What are they?
They used to look like little tables. I used to love using those for tables for my figures. They're more of a triangle shape now.
Yeah, you're right. I wonder why they switched from round to triangle.
I guess it was more. It's to make them appear more slimming.
Yeah, maybe it's like a geometry thing where it provides more support for the box or something. I don't know. We'll have to look into that on a different day.
Oh yeah, that's a different subject for a different time and a different day. Maybe Whisper Wednesday.
There you go.
Hey, by the way, we got a lot of views on Whisper Wednesday. It appears.
Yeah, it was surprisingly It was more popular than we had expected. I don't know if it was the new night or I don't know what it was, but we had quite a few views for Whisper Wednesday.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's see who we got in this room. We don't have too many people in here. There's 3 watching and there's 2 in the room actually.
Okay.
I guess I can go ahead and name off those 2.
Well, I mean, don't let me stop you.
Well, you literally you put your hand up right there when you said that. You tried to cover my mouth. Don't think I didn't see that.
What?
You tried to stop me. You said, "Don't let me."
Yeah. Okay.
No, but the 2 people who are in here that are visible to me is Eddie Von Keen, the real one. And I got to say, he was first in here tonight, man. He was first.
Okay. Well, good. Congratulations to Eddie for being first.
Yeah, I think I'll give him a medal later. And speaking of medals, there's Michael Fontaine. He's the gold medalist of the YouTube, of the channel watching on YouTube, I do believe.
Oh, Michael Fontaine, huh?
Yes, Michael Fontaine.
Well, actually, it's funny that you should mention Michael. I tried to track him down and scare a performance last night. Believe it or not, I got to look in my wrench drawer with all my blue tools in it, and I was juggling through them, and I saw this red wrench. I'm like, no, that's not it. And I saw like a yellow wrench. I'm like, no. And I saw this old dusty blue wrench, and I'm like, that's not it either. And then I saw it right there in the corner, lying right next to the ball peen hammer. Michael Fontaine's blue wrench. Somehow it ended up in my drawer. So I wanted to personally tell him I'm sorry that it ended up there for some reason. I don't know how or what the logical explanation is. Maybe it was a reality shift or something. But I wanted to make sure I got it back to him. Will you make sure if I give it to you, will you pass it on to him?
Well, I'll tell you what, I will do that, but I want an explanation for it. I think maybe what happened was a fairy snuck into his room the other night, and while he was sleeping, because he does sleep with the wrench by his pillow. And
well, I mean, if I had one, that's where I would keep it.
Yeah, that's what he does, man. He sleeps with it by his pillow just in case someone might, an attacker, an intruder. Might come in, you got to hit him with a wrench,
Right.
So,
well, if you can dodge a ball, you can dodge a wrench.
That's right. I mean, that's logical reasoning right there. But yeah, so a fairy probably snuck in there, grabbed the wrench, jumped out his window, and ran all the way to Florida and put it in your junk drawer.
Huh. I'm not really sure what part of the country Michael lives in. But I'm imagining this fairy like on a mission, traveling the highways and the byways. With I got to get this wrench to Florida and all the things that it faced along the way, kind of like a Harold and Kumar go to White Castle adventure.
Oh yeah, they do like their White Castle. They do.
Right. Well, anyway, I'm glad that we were able to solve the mystery.
Yeah,
and
me too,
I hope you'll be able to get it back to him in a
Well,
timely manner.
Well, here, hand it to me.
All right, here. Hold on, let me get it. All right, I got it.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to hand it to you now. Don't drop it.
Oh, I'll try. I'll try not to.
Uh,
Dang it!
ah,
Man, that almost landed on my foot.
well, you okay? I know it's heavy.
Yeah. I mean, I would have had another broken toe if it landed on my foot.
Yeah, but now I would have had to look at another picture of it. And so glad it didn't happen.
Oh yeah, I am. I'm glad I didn't have to put you through that.
Yeah, me too.
Here, I'm gonna hand it to Michael now.
Okay.
Wait, how? What in the world? What's going on here? Why can't I do it? This is weird. Oh, I'm not me. Hold on.
Oh, well, it always helps if you're you.
Well, hey, I got to get it off the floor first. That's the thing.
Well, it always helps if you're you. That's a good sound bite.
Yeah, I'm not me if I'm hungry.
Yeah, you're not yourself when you're dropping wrenches on your foot.
Mm-hmm. That's right, man. I get all messed up inside. Well, here you go, Michael. Man, that's a long reach. Okay, there it is. Now don't get careless again and lose it.
Yeah, don't be misplacing it, leaving it at random people's wrench drawers and stuff.
Oh, I tell you, that's cool. Well, hey, let's why don't we give this room a proper shout out?
Okay, well, I can't wait to hear you do it with a proper voice.
Oh man, no. I'm not as good as Armor is at that.
Well, you had to go and call it proper, so now let's hear the proper version.
Oh man. Okay, well here's here is Eddie Von King, the real one. I got my pinky out too, by the way. Hebrew from Eternia. Sir Michael Fontaine.
Michael Fontaine.
Michael Fontaine.
Michael Fontaine.
Sir Preliminal.
That's what's up. Good to see Preliminal in the house.
And Mr. Paul Johnstone.
Mr. Paul Johnstone. That's
And
awesome, man. That sounded very, very proper. I'm very pleased. Very I don't even know the word I'm looking for. It was just so proper. Now, granted, yeah, it wasn't as good as Armor's. I must admit, but it wasn't bad. Not bad for a white guy from Illinois.
Right. Can you say that was very white of me?
No, that would be politically incorrect for me to say that.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now,
first of all, for me to assume that you were white.
Right. I mean, look at my picture, man. I'm in black and white, so I could be any color.
Right.
For all you know.
No, I actually happen to do know that you're white.
I could be gray.
Well, we all are shades of gray on the inside.
Well, as long as it's not 50 shades, I'm cool with it.
Oh no.
Oh man. Okay. Now that we're here, we've all got our silliness out of the way.
Michael's got his wrench back, and we did a proper shout out. And we told at least 17 bad jokes. I think we're off to a great start.
Oh yeah, and you know what? We're right on time today, I do believe.
Yeah, well, close enough anyway.
Yeah. I think we were 5 minutes late, and I think that's my fault mostly because I had to get reorganized. I had to cook my food. I had to do this and that, and let me ask you this. Are we in the Twilight Zone right now? Because that's usually the stuff you do.
I know. Usually I'm the one scrambling last minute, and you're like, okay, come on. You're just sitting there waiting for me, and I'm like, I'll be right there, and you're like, okay, and then, I'm just sound asleep, and you're blowing my phone up, trying to tell me that the show started a half hour ago.
Right. Yeah. So, hey, you know who else we got here? Just popped in.
I'm gonna guess Lorraine Lamore.
Well, you're close. These two are about. They seem to have the same experiences. CJ Wood is in the house.
Oh, CJ Wood. I knew CJ would pop in.
Hey, let me ask you this:
What's that?
if a CJ could chuck wood, how much wood would a CJ chuck?
If a CJ could chuck wood?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that's a good question. Probably best just to ask CJ. She probably knows.
Right? Yeah. Hey, CJ, how much wood would you chuck if you could chuck wood?
She probably said none.
Yeah. Well, I had a block of wood once, and
are we keeping this bit clean? I just want to make sure before we get started.
oh yeah, no, I'm talking about lumber.
Okay. Okay, make sure we're on the same page. All right, so tell me about your lumber experience.
Well, I chucked a piece of wood out my window one time, and it hit a a televangelist?
A televangelist?
Yeah, it hit one.
Okay, how did that work out for you? Or him, or it, or whatever.
I asked for forgiveness.
I'm sure he was probably willing to forgive you as long as you had your checkbook handy.
Right. By the way, he did end up with a splinter in his eye and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So I'm looking.
I almost feel like this is a true story.
Well, I tell you, I have to look in the mail anytime now for a summons. Just saying.
Okay. Well, I'm sure a reasonable donation to his church will clear everything up for you.
Oh yeah, probably. But in all seriousness, though, CJ said she can chuck a whole bunch because she has some trees down her backyard. She said that, but at the same time, I picture her like using an axe and chopping them like she's doing a Rocky montage.
Okay, yeah, and then the whole like playing in the background.
Oh yeah,
for sure. Da-da-da, da-da-da. Yeah, for sure. And she's got like a flannel shirt on and a chainsaw. I can picture this. Are you still there? Did I lose you? I'm wondering if my headset went dead or if Hebrew fell off the end of the earth. No, I hear him. Are you there?
Yeah, just give me 1 second, man. Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay, well, you could have at least warned me. I didn't know what happened to you. I thought it was maybe at my end. So, yeah, we definitely have an interesting show for you guys this evening. We are going to talk about flat Earth or lack thereof or round Earth. And we're not going to try to persuade you one way or the other. So don't feel like you need to run off. We're going to try to what they call flat smack you or anything. Nor are we going to make fun of flat earthers. any more so than we make fun of anything else. And we're just going to dive into the subject and try to hear the compelling argument for it and the compelling argument against it without it actually being an argument. Just the case. We're going to keep it fun and interesting, hopefully. That's our goal. And discuss some of the talking points, you might say. So if somebody's got should we maybe consider opening the phone lines in case somebody wants to call in and talk about it with us?
Yeah.
As long as you're willing to stay respectful and open-minded in a discussion about it, we promise to do the same. And we don't want anybody coming on here talking bad about globe people are stupid or flat earth people are stupid or nobody's stupid. There's no stupid.
No, we're equal. We're equal making fun of opportunists. We make fun of everybody.
Yes. As far as we're concerned, everybody's stupid, including ourselves.
That's right. No. I actually did some serious research on this one. I actually dug in to the good old history books on Google, and I didn't realize how far back this thing goes. You know, it goes back quite a ways. You know that?
Yeah, I think they've been talking. They've been philosophers have been philosophizing flat Earth theory for such a long time that it may be one of the oldest arguments, like right up there behind, like, no, you can't have my fire. No, I invented the wheel. I mean, it really might go that far back.
But the furthest that I went back was Christopher Columbus, actually. Now, in the history books, it may tell you that Christopher Columbus was trying to find a shorter route to India. But I got to tell you, after the research I did, his real motivations were not as pure as you might think.
Imagine that.
Mm-hmm. He was actually trying to find the ultimate conclusion to whether or not the Earth was round or flat.
I thought that he was on a mission from the Queen to figure out the Mandela Effect.
No. I did some serious research, man. This is scientific evidence that I found. You wouldn't believe this, but they actually.
So let me ask you this: when he set off on his mission, what was the popular belief at the time in Spain, where he disembarked from? Did most of the people there at the time, were they convinced? Did they have the mindset that the Earth was round?
A lot of them were flat earthers, believe it or not.
Okay, so he and Columbus himself was really trying to convince them otherwise, correct?
Oh, yes, sir.
Yes, that's what I thought. So he was a glober back before it was before that was the popular way of thinking.
Now, this may seem impossible to believe, but would you believe they actually had cameras back in 1492?
Sounds good to me.
Yes, I think this is a Mandela effect, and I think this could be a huge Mandela effect because, as you and I both know, they didn't have camera technology to the late 1700s.
Yeah, I was thinking late 1600s at best.
Yeah, this is just amazing, and I got.
You're talking a good 150 years before most people acknowledged the birth of, because it wasn't so much the camera that they had a hard time with. It was the film and the development thereof. The whole filming, the capturing it on film part was where the science really came into play. The chemical process of the film.
Sure, yeah, and this is amazing footage too. It's almost as clear now. I don't think they had the actual technology to make film, but they did like a flip book thing. They had
Yeah, they literally had a slide. One thing they would slide in there. It's not like they had a little photo bug that you could go take your roll in and drop it off and come back in 2 days and pick it back up again.
right.
You remember those? They used to have them like all over the place back before everybody had a digital phone on their camera.
24-hour photo mats. Yeah.
Yeah. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Back to what you were saying.
Well, this evidence I'm about to present to everyone is going to just blow their mind. So let me go ahead and roll that beautiful bean footage, how we say in the field.
Yes, in the field.
Here we go. See, right off the bat there, it talks about the King of Spain and Christopher Columbus right there.
Yeah.
So let me know if you can hear this.
Yep.
Round and round and round and round. Lumbo, the world she's flat. The world that she's around. She's flat. Look, King, she's around like the apple. She's flat like the pancake. Pasta fazooka. She's around, she's a firm, she's a fully packed. She's around the back of my head. She's flat like your head.
That's pretty good, man.
Yeah, that's pretty good evidence for the time, right?
Yeah, I always imagine Christopher Columbus slightly taller than that.
I did too, but you know he was Italian, and you know what they say, most Italians were short back then.
Yes, back then, or when did they have their sudden growth spurt?
I think the sudden growth spurt was after the Rocky movies came out.
Oh, okay. When they saw that statue there in Philadelphia, they erected their back and stood like 3 foot taller, huh?
Yes.
That's what's up.
Yeah, it's scientifically proven.
I believe it. So did Christopher Columbus ever persuade anybody any differently? Did they come to a new? Did he succeed in his mission?
Well, I actually believe after the king hit him with that mallet, you know, I don't think that he lived after that.
Well, I think after he discovered, quote unquote, America, because it's debatable as to whether it was North America or South America or Florida that he actually discovered.
Right.
I think he gave up. I think he was just happy with that, being with that claim to fame.
But let me ask you this on a serious level, though.
All right.
So, in all seriousness, though, it is written in history that he did have this discussion with the king. It didn't go quite like that, but you know,
it's like the pancake. That was funny, man.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
But no, he did. I think initially he went to the King of Spain saying, I could prove that I can sail the ship around the world and to find a shorter route to India. And he had convinced the queen of this. And I think it was actually the queen that had sent him on the mission to go to India to get spices and all that stuff. You know, or at least that's the official narrative, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it was all about finding a better trade route and expanding their trade. That's how empires were built back then, by having a good, profitable trade route. You know, where you take something somewhere and come back either with lots of gold or something even better than what you left with.
But I said all that to bring up the whole flat Earth and round Earth thing, because I've learned a lot. I know you showed me a lot of videos and stuff. that were well. You showed me a video that definitely has a lot of evidence for flat Earth.
It's a very long, extensive video, and I apologize for putting you through that because I know it's kind of a dry subject matter to sit through, the example after example after example after example, especially when a lot of the examples kind of repeat themselves. For instance, a lot of times they make the claim that um, if the Earth was flat, I mean, if the Earth was round, the airplane would have to every like 2.5 minutes uh, point itself slightly down in order to keep from flying. If it stayed perfectly straight and the Earth is below it curving, then the plane will eventually fly out into space. And that's and if you ask a pilot if they had account for that, they will tell you no, that they don't ever find themselves needing to point the plane down. And then the counter argument is that the plane has it built into its navigational system to automatically adjust to maintain a specific altitude, which is all fine and dandy, except for the pilot again will sitting there in the cockpit will tell you that the plane isn't ever pointing down. It's remaining on a flat level plane. Huh. Wonder why they call it a plane, mind you. Yeah, but that's a that's definitely something to make you at least you scratch your head and say, huh, I wonder why the plane doesn't ever adjust for the curvature of the Earth. I don't know, but something to think about, I guess.
One of the arguments we had on the show a long time ago was we were talking about the compass and the fact that a compass will always point north, like it's its default setting is what I'm saying. Not that it'll always point north, but that's its default setting.
Right, it points to magnetic north, which most people don't know is miles off from the actual northern point of the Earth. The northernmost point of the Earth is slightly variant from the magnetic north where a compass points, and the magnetic north changes, it fluctuates, so that it can move it's moved as much as like 2 or 3 miles in the course of a year, and that will throw off an airplane's navigational systems if they don't update their navigational system. It'll throw off their course. But a lot of people don't know that. So how does the compass pointing north? How does that fall into the flat Earth argument? I'm curious.
Oh, because of the pole. Because of the North Pole, what they're saying is, hold on, give me just a minute to compose myself.
Well, here, while you do that, I will tell you this. From what I understand, because I've looked into the flat Earth argument as well, and I when I first discovered it, I was very intrigued by it. So I dove deep into that rabbit hole, and I watched a lot of. I probably spent a good month and a half to 2 months watching as many videos, going into as many live streams as I possibly could. I admittedly was overwhelmed by the concept, so I had to know for sure. I wanted to find out, but I was ultimately disappointed because I came to the realization that you can't actually prove it without a doubt, unequivocally, one way or the other. So it was kind of a letdown in the end. But I will tell you this: the way for those who don't already know, which I imagine most people in our chat room probably already have this basic understanding, but for just in case somebody who doesn't know, the flat Earth, one of the flat Earth theories or the model or the heliocentric thing that they try to convey is the North Pole is the center of the flat Earth. That is like if you imagine the Earth as a dinner plate, flat, mostly flat in the middle, and then tapering up on all of the edges. Okay, that's kind of the basic premise. North Pole is in the center. Now, so if you're going north, you're always going toward the center. And if you're going south, you're always going away from the center. And then if you imagine the rim of the plate all the way around the full circumference of the plate at the top of that rim, that would be the Antarctic wall. So whenever you're going south, you're going toward Antarctica. No matter which direction away from the center you're going, you're still going away from north, so you're going to the outer rim. And the outer rim is an ice wall known as, they're claiming Antarctica basically circles the entire Earth, like the rim of the plate, and the wall is untraversable. The weather conditions and the ice wall go to reach a altitude that is untraversable without some type of airplane or special high grade military a way to get over it. It's not like you can just go there in your regular old run of the mill custom passenger ship that the average person could take, because you couldn't get through all of the ice. You couldn't go past that barrier. Then what's beyond that barrier is still obviously open for debate, because nobody's ever went there and came back to see it and report on it, except with maybe the exception of Admiral Byrd back when he did the whole the whole expedition down there in Antarctica shortly after World War II. He actually went down there and did a couple expeditions and came back and reported that he did see things, and then he went on a talk show, I think in Australia or somewhere in New Zealand, and he talked about some of the stuff he saw there. And then shortly after that, he was hushed. They told him, quit talking about what you saw. Government told him to be quiet, and he kind of kept to himself until after he died. And then people claimed that they found his journal, and then that's open for debate too, as to what the accuracy of what he actually wrote in his journal. But with all that being said, that's the basic flat Earth theory: is that the Earth is a plate shaped. Any time you travel south, you're traveling away from north toward the edge of the Earth, or the edge of the traversable Earth, you might say.
I've traveled towards the edge of tomorrow, if that counts.
Okay, where were you going?
Oh, I was going to Disneyland.
Okay, well, good for you. That ought to be fun with social distancing and mask wearing and all that kind of stuff.
What you do is you go there without your mask on, and then you cough on everybody, and then you get ahead in line. You're first in line that way, right? Is that how it works?
I don't know. I haven't tried it. You definitely will report back to us and give us all the intimate details, yes?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Sorry about
right.
guys. I'm sorry. But here's the thing. All right. Here's my thing.
All right.
One of the things that when I went on the talk show that one time, one of the things that my argument was for round Earth, and here's how the argument went.
Okay.
If we look up in the sky, we can see that the moon is clearly round.
Well, it's at least a circle. I'll give you that. We can't really tell for sure that it's a sphere.
We can see from the sky like other planets like Pluto and Jupiter and Mars, and all those planets are clearly round as well.
Well, yeah, they when you look through them, and have you ever went out in the middle of the night and used a telescope and looked at the planets through a telescope?
I looked at the planets through my ViewMaster once.
Okay, well that's close enough, I guess. They do look spherical, like roundish, but they look more like a light than they do a solid object, which is weird. I always thought that was kind of weird. They almost look translucent in a regular, good old fashioned telescope you can buy, up at the
Dollar store?
the hobby shop. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I was kidding. No, but man, isn't the sun round also though?
Well, yeah, it appears round in the sky as well.
So let me ask you this: why would God choose to make Mars, Venus, Pluto, the moon, the sun, all of those planets round shaped, not necessarily round as in a globe? And by the way, why do we have globes? What's the concept of that?
Well, the globe is supposed to be a model of the globe Earth.
Right. So how do we know? So how explorers back in the day, how'd they know to get from one place to another, besides using a map, of course? But I mean,
yeah, they didn't really have globes on ships per se. They had nautical maps. They would lay them flat over the thing, and most of the maps that they used back then were similar to the was the type of map. I can't think of the name of it now because I'm drawing a blank, but I used to know the name of the map. But it's the same map that you see on the symbol for the United Nations, where it looks like a flat Earth map, where the North Pole is in the center and everything spreads out away from it. That's basically what the flat Earth is supposed to look like. I don't know if you're able to Google the UN logo or something like that, where we can look at it while we're on live.
Yeah, we are on the computer. At least I am. Did you say UN logo?
Yeah, the UN, just United Nations logo, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that looks round to me.
Yeah, if you can bring it up on the screen.
Yeah, let me let's jump into your favorite part of the show here.
All right.
No, 2 seconds. Boom, there it is.
That's basically what they're saying the flat Earth looks like. North Pole is in the center, and anything, and whenever you're traveling away from the center, you're going south. See all those lines? They're all pointing south because anything that goes away from the center is going south.
But why is there a great big robot in the middle of the United States?
Yeah, I know, right?
At least that's what he looks like to me. I don't know, but
that's a lot of flat earthers make the argument like, that's them putting the truth in plain sight for everybody to see. Because why would they choose the United Nations? They're eventually going to be our new world order, right? The blue helmets that are going to come and conquer us all. Our new police state. That's their logo. Why would they choose of all the logos of all the things they could have made? They used a flat Earth depiction of our what is the word I'm looking for? Our domain.
Yeah, I don't understand though how this is supposed to be a flat Earth thing. It looks it's round.
Well, a plate is round, yes.
So
you're confusing round with ball. No one's arguing that it's not round. They're just saying it's not a ball. There's a difference. A plate is round, yet it's flat.
No, wait a minute. Wait. Now I'm doubly confused. If a ball's round.
A ball is round, but a plate is round as well.
Right. Plates are round. That's what I consider to be round.
Right. No one's arguing the roundness. They're arguing whether it's shaped like a ball or shaped like a plate.
Well, I'll agree that it's shaped like a plate. I mean, I have no arguments there.
Oh, okay. Well, that was easy to convince you. Now we just have the rest of society. No, I'm just kidding.
But here's the thing. How does all the water stay in the plate?
Water sets on a surface. Again, if you pour water in the plate and you put it on a table and you don't move it, they're saying the earth don't move. And the water just sits there.
Oh. Well, see, that's the other argument is they say that the earth does not rotate.
No, we said the argument is that we are the center of our existence, and they claim that because they say we never feel any motion like of spinning through space. Yet you have the slightest little earthquake and all that seismic, all those little sensitive seismic meters pick up the slightest little rumble, under the crust of the earth, but we can never physically create anything that detects that we're actually spinning and flying and hurtling through space. Yet we never once feel like whoa. I mean, I almost lost my balance there. that never happens. If we even slightly have a seismic event, though, even the littlest one, while you're sitting on the toilet or something, everybody notices that. And then they also make the claim that, that the North Star stays in the exact same point of the night sky day in and day out with very, very, very little to no variance. And if we're spinning and hurtling through space at thousands of miles per hour, how does one star remain constantly motionless? And can you put a camera on a tennis ball and spin it and throw it to somebody, and one particular thing will stay in an exact spot the whole time that the tennis ball arrives at its destination?
Well, here's the thing. If we're standing on solid ground and the earth is spinning, we're not going to feel the earth spinning because it's spinning with a gravitational pull. And that's what's keeping everything down. However, I do realize that is part of the flat earthers' argument is gravity doesn't exist.
Not that it necessarily doesn't exist, but they're questioning whether or not it even is a real thing. They're questioning gravity as well, yes. Because if you're flat on the ground and you're not moving, and their argument is that it's a density thing. Things that are more dense go down until they find their density point. Kind of like when you put oil, water, and vinegar in a glass, how it separates to its density.
Yeah, but explain the oil, water, and vinegar theory to everyone out there that doesn't know. Because we talked about this last night, and I thought it was an interesting discussion that we had.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you've seen like a lava lamp or something like that where the 30 different colored liquids, find their own spot, and until you turn on the lamp and it starts bubbling and stuff like that.
Oh.
So basically, everything just like in air, you have heavier gases and lower gases, right? Like helium is lighter than air, so it like a balloon, when you fill it with helium, it goes up, So until it starts to run out of helium, or it seeps through the knot at the bottom somehow and slowly deflates and comes back down or if you pop it, it just goes poof, and hits the ground, because then it's heavier than its environment. And the question that always intrigued me the most about the flat Earth and the globe Earth, and I know I sound like I'm trying to convince everybody that it's flat, but really I'm not. I'm just trying to point out the things that perplex me the most. Another one is that the whole if you have a vacuum and then you have atmosphere next to a vacuum, the vacuum in any scientific experiment that you can concoct here on our globe, it finds equal pressure. Like pressure always has to equalize. Like you can't have a vacuum next to a lot of oxygen, and the oxygen in that area isn't going to like all disperse into like, let's say you had a terrarium or something that was enclosed. Everything would find its evenness. So somehow, some way, our atmosphere, at some point reaches space where there's apparently a vacuum or a void, and it just doesn't escape. How do we keep our atmosphere from flailing away? And then if you add into that the concept of, we're spinning and hurtling through space, that makes it even that much more impressive that our atmosphere stays intact, and not only does it stay intact, but there's no shear, there's no you look up in the sky, everything looks peaceful and calm up there, not like it's like having a hard time holding on because there's a big empty void out there trying to suck it away from us, and we're hurling through space, and it's got to keep up with the planet, So that really, what is the thing that, like, what is the liner, like a balloon, you might say, that keeps our atmosphere from just falling out into the void?
Well,
because the nature of a vacuum is to suck and create even pressure.
I've got to go on not a tangent, but I got to go on a little thing here. As I'm reading Lorraine Lamore's comments, and I happen to agree with her that gravity, even though they don't believe in gravity,
Right.
that gravity keeps us and everything planted onto the earth, and tricyclical force keeps us from falling off the earth when it's spinning. It'd be like
I would agree with that, except for centrifugal force actually pulls things away. Like if you take a potato and you put it in your Kroger bag and you start spinning in a circle, that potato wants to fly out the bottom of the bag, not come towards you.
Well, I tell you what, I'll agree to disagree with you on that point. But what I want to do is I want to do a scientific experiment. Okay.
All right.
You know how the flat earthers are all saying there's no gravity. Okay.
Right.
So what I want to do is I'm going to pick up a rock, and it could be a flat rock, it could be a round rock, it could be a square rock. I'm not racist against rocks,
Okay, yeah, any old shape will do. You might not want to choose like a really jaggedy rock. That might be kind of dangerous.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with that. But so here's my theory. My theory is how I'm gonna try to prove gravity exists. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a rock and I'm gonna launch it right at the fucking head of a flat earther, and really hard. And if they go down to the ground, then there's gravity.
That would be the perfect experiment. You can't argue with results like that.
However, if they float up off the ground after I hit them in the head with a fucking rock, I'm sorry about my language, by the way, but it is.
I don't know why you had to start cussing. I mean, it's not that serious, man.
It helps add spice to the sentence. It's a sentence enhancer.
That's
And
what Christopher Columbus said.
yeah, he wanted spice, but yeah, he said if I'm good, I go ahead, and if I fall off the ocean, then who cares? But no, if they float off the ground, it either means that there isn't gravity, or I hit them so fucking hard that their ghost floated out of their body. How about that?
You know what? It sounds like we could do like a flat Earth witch trials.
Right. We'll find out if this is a flat earther or not.
Yeah.
No, folks, I do apologize for the excessive cussing, but I thought it would be funnier if I said it that way. I really did.
Yeah, it was fun, just as funny, but I don't know if it was funnier. But it was funny.
I'm sure I probably alienated some flat earthers that were in here earlier.
Well, I don't know. I'm not 100% convinced that the Earth is flat. I thought we would, just bring up the talking points, give them their fair. Because a lot of times they get so heated in trying to convince you of the knowledge that they want to share with you, that they come off as an extremist.
So serious.
Yeah. And then you don't even really want to listen to them because you feel like they're insulting your intelligence with their flat Earth talk. So there's always a big communications breakdown there. They actually do have a good, compelling argument that is worthy of consideration. I will give them that. And it's so often the message gets lost in people's inability to effectively communicate because of the divisiveness of the subject matter. Because what happens is when you start talking about flat Earth versus round Earth, it goes into your core. It goes into your core of your perception of reality. And whether you realize it or not, you start to experience a form of cognitive dissonance, which is that you have to let go of a preconceived notion that you've been comfortable with your entire life. And that's not on a conscious level. It seems like it should be easy enough to do intellectually, but on a subconscious level, you find it threatening and hard to accept. So it's one of those things where you kind of really have to, and then when you go to look it up online, you're going to get a bunch of like counter opposition, fluff stuff that really doesn't even really make a good valid, that doesn't even share the real talking points to make a good valid argument one way or the other. It's always got a spin or agenda, or it's a hit piece one way or the other. And it's meant to deceive you more than it's meant to inform you. So
yeah, I just, you know what? I just want people to know that I was just joking around, and
we know that. No, is there a response in chat or something?
No.
Okay.
But no, but you know what? Here's what I got to say to those people who are just, they're so easily offended. Here's what I got to say to them. Here's what I've got to say to them. Just to the ones that take this so serious and they're so offended. Check it out.
Turns to me and he says, "Why so serious?"
There you go.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. I love that movie, dude.
You know what, though? If you really want to know my personal, at my core, what I really truly believe is I'm very skeptical that space is what they tell us it is, that we've ever actually been to the moon. I don't know that the Earth is flat or round, but I do believe that it is probably a reality, that the reality is probably something that I'm not even capable of fathoming. And I don't believe that I will even know the reality in my lifetime. But hopefully there is a heaven, and when I die, I will go there, and the truth will be revealed to me at that time. That's where my,
Hey,
that's
there
my
you go.
take.
There's
Yeah.
looking at the positive side of things. But, it really is a hot button issue. I mean, flat Earth versus round Earth is the same as like politics and religion. I mean, they do feel that passionate about it. Some people do.
Yeah, you're right, and it's a weird psychological phenomenon when somebody can change their. I think what it happens is because, like I was mentioning before, it goes into your whole core belief system of the way you've accepted reality since you were a little kid and you walked into elementary school and the big globe was sitting there on the desk, and that's your perception of the world that you've always had. So it's really hard for people to adjust that perception. And once they do, they feel like, well, not everybody, but certain people come to the conclusion, well, I have to tell everyone that the British are coming. So they get this sense of urgency to share this newfound perception of reality with everyone, kind of like how we do with the Mandela Effect, in the sense that we are anxious to reveal, Mandela Effects to new people. The only difference is that you can actually find residue, and certain Mandela Effects are kind of an easier red pill to swallow than the shape of the Earth, because as much as you can make a good talking point argument and all this kind of great stuff one way or the other, you can't prove it unequivocally without a doubt one way or the other. And that's where it comes to I came to the conclusion that it's a big waste of time to argue it and debate it with somebody, to get your feelings hurt or to feel like it's your personal mission to take a stance one way or the other, because you're going to be having an argument that you can never prove. And that's a big waste of time.
Well, you know what? Speaking of red pills, Carla Red Pill came up with a pretty good Mandela effect. But before I go into that Mandela effect, your Mandela effect that you mentioned on Scare Performances channel last night. And let's see if this gentle audience that we have here, all 6 of them, see if they know exactly what see if it resonates with them is what I'm trying to say.
Well, actually, I got a couple. I saved one for our show tonight.
Oh, okay, cool.
And you may or may not have heard this one before. If you have, then I'm sorry. But Theodore Roosevelt, he was one of the presidents of the United States. You may have heard of him.
Oh yeah, slightly. Go ahead.
He had a. I remember hearing as a child once that he boxed a kangaroo. Have you ever heard about that?
I know that there was a picture of it somewhere. I personally, yeah, I did hear it. Yeah.
Well, apparently it's never happened in this reality. He never actually did box a kangaroo. If there was a president that would ever be known for boxing a kangaroo, obviously he would be the one. But there is none. However, there is residue out there, and I should have told you this before the show. I had forgotten about it. But there's an episode of Futurama where Fry is going to box a kangaroo, and I don't know if you know, in Futurama they have the president's heads inside a glass thing, kind of like. And Theodore Roosevelt is the president that's talking to him, coaching him on his kind of like his trainer, like he would be like for the box, yeah, like Mickey. It's his Mickey, and why would they, of all the presidents, why would they choose Theodore Roosevelt to help Fry with boxing a kangaroo if in this reality he's never actually been known for boxing a kangaroo. Yet apparently there are many people who do have a memory of learning that as a child that he did. I don't know if anybody in the chat remembers it ever happening or has heard the tale of Theodore Roosevelt boxing a kangaroo. So it'll be interesting to see what chat says.
Okay, well, here's that clip. It's a 15-second clip, but I'm going to go ahead and play it.
All right.
Down under.
Whoops. Hold on. Down under. That was funny. Let me get to the screen here. And I'll enlarge it and then play it. Okay. It's Bender boxing a kangaroo.
No, I don't think this is the one, but let's go ahead and watch it.
Down under.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Curious spectacle. But a kangaroo boxing a robot? Now I'm afraid you've lost me.
Huh, I thought it was Fry, but apparently it's Bender.
You're going down, Max.
Yeah, it showed, and actually the title of the video is "Did Theodore Roosevelt Ever Box with a Kangaroo?" And that's what it shows.
Yep. Let's see what the comments say.
I love that the Batman thing they did there.
I was going to say, let's look at the comments.
Yeah, we don't have any right now.
No, I meant on that video.
Oh, on the oh, see, you totally threw me off, brother. Okay, let's look at the comments on the video. I think I might have to view it in YouTube. Yeah. Hold on. Do it so we're not playing too much of this, and let me see.
Yeah, it's not that important. Don't worry about it.
But anyway, that's definitely some residue there, brother. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, no problem.
I would like to hear from the chat, though. The chat is what I thought you meant, by the way.
Yeah, well, them as well. If you're under 20 years old, you probably never heard about it, So, but I would say if you're 30 or over, you probably heard the tale before. I vaguely recall hearing something about it when I was in my teen years. I think like in a history class or something like that. It came up once that he was famous for that, and he was also famous for overcoming asthma. He had severe asthma as a child.
Well,
and his dad would put him on horses and make him ride horses like all day and it was very exhausting for him. But it helped him over time cure his asthma because he had to, it was very strenuous for him. He had to breathe and do a lot of excessive breathing holding onto the horse.
Well, I'll tell you what, he used to pick fights with everybody at the time, and I think he even would challenge people to duels, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, he was very he was very athletic when he got older, and he was definitely known for being scrappy.
CJ Wood said she never heard of it, and she turned 64 yesterday. Well, happy birthday, CJ.
Yeah, happy birthday, CJ Wood. Yeah, it's not one of those things that's super well known. So, but
I can
the
definitely,
other,
huh?
go ahead.
I could definitely see him doing that, though. You know, it seemed like he would be the kind of guy that would be so rambunctious that he would do such a thing.
Right. And then the other one that I brought up last night was the movie The Hunger Games. A lot of people have a distinct memory of right before they start the game, they all have to stand on this specific platform, and they're not allowed to move until the signal to go. And then they all run to try to grab a weapon, be the first to grab a weapon, you know, and start the game. And if somebody jumps off of their pedestal early, that they have landmines activated that will explode, and you'll essentially die for trying to cheat and leave early. And the landmines deactivate once they activate the game. And apparently, a lot of people remember one person at the beginning of the game testing that theory and trying to jump early off the go, off the rip, get a head start, and they essentially got blown up and died. But apparently now it never happened in the movie. Yet so many people remember it happening, even people who haven't read the book, where apparently that is in the book, but it never happens in the movie. So then the argument is, well, that maybe, I don't know, I haven't verified that it happened in one of the spoofs. There's one called the Hangover Games and one called the Starving Games. And I think in one of those spoofs, they actually do play that scene out. So they're saying, well, people are just false remembering it from the spoof. But I've never seen any of the spoofs, and I do have a memory of it. A lot of people, they say, well, I haven't seen the spoof, and I have a memory of it. Then the argument goes so far as to say it was in the trailer for the spoof that was aired on TV. So even if you didn't go see the movie, you might have saw the trailer. And I'm like, I don't know. But either way, a lot of people have a memory of it happening in the movie. They can tell you exactly which character it was, what scene it took place in, because people love that movie so much. They have watched it over and over and over. And somebody recently pointed out on a Reddit post that they noticed the scene no longer exists. So there's that. So does anybody in chat have a recollection of the Hunger Games and somebody getting blown up because they left the pedestal early? I know you and I have talked about it, and you've never actually watched the movie. Is that right?
Well, I got to tell you, I don't see anybody in chat at the moment. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to wait for the chat to catch up with us because they left, and now some people have come back. So, I just want to say special thanks to Paul Jonestone for hanging in there with us. Paul, thanks for being here tonight.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Paul in a long time,
Yeah. Yeah, let's turn on the phone lines and see if somebody like Paul or somebody wants to call in.
Now just hang on to your suspenders there, mister.
All right.
I will, in fact, open the phone lines here in a minute, but I do want to share.
I don't believe you.
I'm dangling in front of them with a piece of string. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but go ahead. I'm all ears. What were you going to say?
Well, Carla Redpill spoke of a Mandela Effect on Dan's show last night, and I wanted to sort of share my feelings because I have a personal experience with this. And I don't know if you have any of these stores in your town, or maybe people in chat have these stores in their town. but apparently the Save-A-Lot grocery store has been Mandela'd.
Mandela.
Mandela'd?
You know what? I saw that last night on this show, and at first I kind of wrote it off, but then, I kind of had a duel on that one because I do vaguely, when I saw the actual residue he brought up, that looked right to me. Once I saw the residue, it's Save a Lot, and the way people remember it is SAV dash A dash lot. Now I know you remembered it SAVA dash lot. Is that right?
Uh-huh.
So
Now,
I kind of remember that too. But apparently now there's no dashes and it's just
no.
save and then a lot, right?
Yeah, it's weird because check this out. And I think he even did like a logo search to see if it was maybe a company decision on their part, if it was an actual logo change,
Right.
But apparently it's always been this way. Let me put it up on my screen here.
All right.
I have some pictures and I'll point out what I do remember and what I don't remember.
All right.
So let me get the screen shared here. And let me get in here. Wait, hang on. I got to make it bigger, obviously. Now, these pictures, and I got to skip over this one. This is just the inside. That, obviously, is probably a logo change to me.
Yeah, that's probably
But-
what it is now, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
However, and that, let's see here. Uh-oh. Now, I remember, I'm going to point out some really weird informalities about this. A lot of people say this E was gone, and it was Sav a lot.
Yeah, Sav dash A dash lot.
And now, as you can see, the dashes are missing. But look at this. So I think that other one that I was showing a while ago was a newer logo. This is the way it's always been.
Okay.
But there's no dashes. It's just dots.
Right. And there's an E instead of SAV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, in my reality, this S was in the shape of a dollar sign because you're saving money.
Okay.
That's another thing that's changed for me is there used to be, now the dollar store could have been here. I don't know, but I know that there was a dollar sign in that name. And let's see here. I'm trying to find, and that, I don't know if that was a regional thing. Look at that old sign.
You can tell how old it is by the vehicles in the parking lot.
Oh, yeah. For sure. Plus the color scheme looks like. This is weird. Save a dot lot. Now look,
Yeah.
look
It
at where
looks like they have they're kind of loose on how you can on their signage, like store to store, they can have variations in their signs.
Now I got to tell you something, and people are probably going to get mad at me for saying so.
Well, don't get mad about it because everybody, when they go there, they have to put a quarter in the cart to get the cart out. It's not just you, man.
Oh, they don't do that there, I don't think.
Oh, is that just Aldi's that does that?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay, my bad. I'm sorry.
I mean, you can see the carts are, scattered.
That's why they ain't returning them because Oh, they would want their quarterback, wouldn't they?
Yeah. I know I would. But I got to tell you, the way this is here, I kind of have a memory of this, but there was save and then there was a dollar sign here somewhere. I know there was.
Well, I thought the S was the dollar sign.
Well, it was either the S or it was in between save and the lot, and now that's impossible because the A lot is down here now.
Yeah, you're right.
So it's like I will try to find in the upcoming weeks, the upcoming days. I'll try to find that dollar sign. I know it was at
Well,
least.
if you could at least, like, say, by a year from now have it, that would be cool.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. I know there's one still near me. Well, isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it is.
But anyway, so we've had 3 Mandela effects to display here tonight.
For sure.
Here's how I remember this yellow. See that yellow?
Yeah.
There was yellow and there was a dollar sign right in here somewhere. There was a dollar sign.
All right, I believe you.
So I know it was in that yellow. All right, so there you have it. What do you think?
I don't know. I know that when they first came out, the guy that came out with Save a Lot, the original store that he first opened, I think it was in New Jersey. He almost went under because he put up a sign that said "Save a Little," but nobody was shopping there, and then one of his workers said maybe we should change the name of the store from Save a Little to Save a Lot, and he gave that person a raise and made him manager of the store, and they made the new sign, and then business picked up from that on. So that was one of those tales where a brilliant employee helped a business owner turn his business around because he changed the name from Save a Little to Save a Lot.
Well, there you go. Paul Johnstone says, I have photos of double line and the S. I want to see that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And by the way, I was just kidding about the Save a Little being that was just satire, my friend.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I kind of figured you were, man. I was on to you the whole time, but I was more or less looking at Paul Johnstone's comment that he left. So to be honest with you, I'm sorry I didn't laugh.
That's okay. I laughed on the inside for you.
All right, cool. Well, hey, as soon as he sent, if he will, Paul, if you'll just go ahead and send that to my email, we'll show it later on the show if we can, if we have time. I know that Scarab Performance is going to do a movie night tonight. Thanks to you, Saji, by the way. Thank you for that.
Anytime. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. Man, as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, damn it. He's going to pull viewers away from us. But,
no, I mean, I honestly, I just mentioned that when is he going to bring it back, and then it wasn't my idea for him to do it, during our show. But I don't know. I might even pop over there myself and go see what the other side is doing.
Oh yeah. Oh wait, you're not going to pull what I did, are you?
No. I'll wait till we're done with our broadcast.
Oh, okay. But hey, on a serious note though, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the phone.
Okay.
So anybody that wants to call in, you may do so. Let me go ahead and put the number up there. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. There you are. There's the number. I'm opening up the phone lines now. Excuse me.
I'm going to mute up for a second. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay, cool. So we'll just wait for the phone lines to open up and people can call in. And what did it say? And if we don't hear you at first, it does tend to not be able to hear you at first. So if we don't hear you at first, please excuse me, and I'll make adjustments as we go. Hey, there's Euler Greg. He just came in the house tonight. Euler, how you doing, brother? I saw you over there at Dan's show the other night. You did pretty good, man. You were in there, and you were talking in junk, and it was cool. I don't remember if you called in or not. I don't remember, but you can call in this show. Anybody can call in this show. I don't try to give you guys the bum rush, and if I did, it would be a nice slow bum rush. It'd be like, okay, do you have anything else that you wanted to talk about? And then you'd be like, oh, well, I guess not. And then I would just hang up on you.
Oh, really? Is that how that's how you roll? I see.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta roll with it.
Have you ever been like at a restaurant, placing like you're placing your order with your family, your kids sitting there, your wife sitting there, you're sitting there, and everybody's trying to figure out what they want, if they're going to get an appetizer, blah blah blah, and the waiter keeps going, "Will there be anything else? Will there be anything else?" And you're like, "Yeah, I would like a side of ranch dressing." Okay, yeah. Would there be anything else? I'm like, "Yeah." I just decided to have fun with it. Yeah, I think I'll have an extra salt shaker. Will there be anything else? Yeah, if you could bring a pepper shaker too. And they're like, will there be anything else? Yeah, if you could bring like 3 extra napkins. And then they're like, will there be anything else? I'm like, yeah, I think everybody could probably use a glass of water. And I just keep thinking of something else they can bring me every time they ask me until they run out of, will there be any, until they catch the joke that I'm never going to stop if they keep asking me that. Have you ever done that? No? Anybody? Hey, bro, will there be anything else?
Talk amongst yourselves.
See, at least I tell you when I'm walking away. You just, magically disappear like a leprechaun.
Oh, I was getting ready to say I'm just like Lucky. I magically disappear, and my cereal is always magically delicious.
Well, that's good to know. But
yeah.
have you ever done that to anybody, or would you ever do that?
I have done that to people because that's how they sort of push you along. It's like, okay, I don't want to say this, but I gotta say this. Would there be anything else? And I'll be like, yeah, let me add this and this and this to that. And by the way, yeah, we're almost out of water here, and how about we get some we want some hot sauce. She wants a side of ranch. My daughter wants a separate plate for her nuggets to dip her nuggets in. Can you bring just a small little bowl of vinegar, and then bring some ketchup, but don't put it on the table. Put it in like a little plastic cup, and yeah.
So one thing you don't want to ask for, especially if you're with your wife and kids, is for the waitress's Instagram. I'm just saying, it's not a good idea.
Well, that, yeah, next time you're in a restaurant and she says, will there be anything else? Say, yeah, can I get your phone number?
Oh, that's so 2008, man.
Is it? Well, I'm a little bit old fashioned, I don't.
Yeah, you want her TikTok or her IG or her Facebook. You don't want her phone number. She'll think you're some sort of douche if you ask for that.
Oh, well, that's how things work in the world now, huh?
Yeah, I'm just saying. Honestly, I really don't have a clue what you ask for nowadays. I haven't asked for it in so long.
Yeah, you know what they say. It's better to ask for it than to pay for it.
Right. It's better to ask. Is it better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission? I'm not sure on that one.
Well, if you chuck a piece of wood out your window and it hits a minister's eye and puts a splinter into his eye, then in that case, it's better to ask for forgiveness. I'm just saying.
Okay, good to know.
You don't want to ask for permission to throw a piece of wood at him.
Gotcha.
I tell you something.
Are the phone lines ringing off the hook or what?
Let me ask my secretary. Joni. I'm still mad at you for not bringing me my Danish before the show. I have sugar diabetes. Damn it. I have to have some kind of food in my belly. Is there anybody on the phone right now? What's that? Why do I care what your best friend did the other day? I'm asking you if there's anyone on the phones. All right, that's all I need to know. And by the way, next time you don't bring me my Danish before we go live, you're fired. Now bring me.
Why are you so hard on Janie?
I don't know, man. It's I think it's revenge for all those times people will yell at me for not bringing them a Danish.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. Well, all I have to say is, what kind of Danish?
I don't know. I don't like the cheese Danishes because they do something to my stomach, but I do like the blueberry Danishes.
Oh yeah, I'm quite fond of the raspberry Danish. Yes.
Oh man, those are good too.
Yes.
But I think she is going to bring me my coffee, so that is nice.
Yeah, well, after you just talked to her, I'd be real skeptical of that coffee.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You probably didn't put you might have put more than just cream in it. Just saying.
Well, hey, speaking of, I don't know where I was going with that. Okay, it seems like we have someone on the line from Bloomington, Indiana.
I think I know who that is.
Bloomington, Indiana, you're on the air with Hebro Performance. I mean, Hebro and Saji.
Hebro Performance. Hi, Lorraine. Okay, I'll call in.
Yeah. Well, he knew it was you right away, but I had to question it. I mean, it's a very questionable phone call we got here.
Can you move her closer to the microphone or something, Hebro?
Oh, one more thing before I do that, though. Joni, why did you tell me we had somebody on the line? You're fired. Okay. Let me turn let's see if we can get you louder, Lorraine.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Hold on, let me try something here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now try it. Uh-oh. Lorraine, you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I can hear her.
Yeah, I can hear her better now too. Hello, Lorraine.
Hello, how are you? Okay, I want to make 2 points. One is, I put in chat the suggestion to, if you ever get out to Palm Springs, California, and they probably still have it there, it's the Palm Springs Aerial Tramway. And it's a tram ride that goes up the mountain. I think it takes like 22 minutes. And the cable car, like a big thick cable that's probably about 5 inches in diameter. And you ride up there, you're going up 4 temperate zones. And when you get out at the top, you step out and the air is very thin. There's not a lot of oxygen. So you notice it right away that you don't have the same energy, you're kind of short of breath. You notice a big difference. And you've just gone up to the top of a mountain there in Palm Springs. It's not like climbing Mount Everest, which is, even thinner air, I guess. So the whole point of that is that you can see the difference in how dense the air molecules are. And that's because gravity is what's keeping the air molecules and other particles here at the surface of the Earth. When people say space is a vacuum, why isn't it sucking it all away? They don't understand what they mean by vacuum. Vacuum just means there's space, there's distance, but there's no material inside it. It's empty. They should say it's empty. That's really what they should say. So when they invented the cleaner and they called it the vacuum cleaner, it works by creating a low pressure on this side, and the natural higher pressure outside the vacuum is going to push the air in and carry the dirt with it. So people assume a vacuum means it's going to suck air and moves it. But they should really just say it's empty. But that's why that's why we can breathe. Because it's here on the surface of the planet because of gravity. And, if in 22 minutes on a slow ride up a mountain, you can feel the difference in the density of the air, it should make it a lot easier to understand first of all, how thin the layer is that we're all breathing. And, it's not a very thick layer at all. It's a very small amount when you consider the full diameter of the Earth. And that, it's one of the reasons why climbing Mount Everest is so difficult, because it's freezing cold and there's very little oxygen to breathe. And it's just very, very hard to do that. Okay, so that was one point. The other point is, if the Earth is flat, how come when I'm in Missouri, which is a very flat state, and I look west, I can't see the Rocky Mountains? And I believe anyone who's a flat earther is going to try to convince us, it's because you can't see that far. We can see the moon. The moon is much farther away than the Rocky Mountains are to Missouri. And we can see the moon from here, without using any binoculars. You can see it.
Right.
So I have an experiment in mind of how to prove that the Earth has a curve to it between.
Are you going to throw a rock? Does it involve throwing a rock?
No.
Oh,
No,
okay. Shoot.
I do like your experiment. You're going to take a sharp effing rock and throw it at a flat earther's head. I really like that experiment. I'd like you to video that right away. Let me look at it.
Well, I might do that, and then we'll come back with the results. If I'm not in jail at that point, just saying.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I understand. You may want to delete this broadcast later.
It'll be a flat rock. It'll be a flat rock, so they shouldn't have any objection to that,
Oh, brilliant. Exactly. Okay, so here's my experiment idea. We go to the eastern facing side of, first of all, we figure out what road we're going to drive in on. I've made this trip, and it's pretty majestic when you see the Rockies rise up out of the horizon. It's really something. I recommend everyone should make that trip at some point, because it's really cool when you see it. Okay, so I want to find what road I'm going to head west on and find that eastern facing side of some Rocky Mountain. I want to take 4 large spheres, just because they'll be round, from any angle you see them, they'll be round. And almost like round pinpoints in a map. But I want to take these spheres that may be like 5 feet across or 10 feet across. and put them in a diamond shape. So there's two that seem, vertically lined up, and then two, one to the left and one to the right. And have each one be a different color, like orange, red, big green, blue, purple, who knows? We'll pick 4 colors because I like colors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then my theory is if the Earth is curved, as I'm heading west, and that the Rocky Mountains start to rise up out of the horizon, when I first see these 4 pinpoints, they're going to seem to be in a very flat diamond shape because I'm looking up at them at a little bit of an angle because of the curvature of the Earth. As we get closer and closer and closer, I'll be looking at them more directly, and that the diamond will seem to grow taller in the height dimension. And I'd really like to do this and take video and footage, and compare the relative shape of the little diamond shape and show that, yes, from this angle, they look closer together, and as you get up closer, they're taller, and they seem to be farther apart. I have a feeling that even if I do this and have the evidence and have witnesses and all that, some flat earther is going to try to explain away how that doesn't mean the Earth is curved.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to come up with some excuse showing once and for all again that they don't understand face-to-face great Earth connection.
Well, here's the thing. Here's another thing. Another theory that the flat earthers have is that when you're so far into the ocean, you go so far into the ocean, you can't see the horizon. Like the horizon's no longer there. But I don't know anybody except for maybe 1 or 2 people who are no longer with us, who's actually sailed from one end of the ocean to the next. So I'm talking about like both oceans, like one ocean to the other ocean. So I don't really know unless you're in a plane, and it'd be kind of cool to have a pilot or someone who has ever flown a plane before to come on the show, and I would love to interview that person. I think that would be a more interesting perspective.
Right, and you're 100% right, Lorraine, in the sense that that sounds like a great experiment, by the way. And if you did take the time to actually do it, it would probably be all in jest. And I can say simply because flat earthers really do feel like they need to prove their flat earth, and they actually go out and they do laser experiments where they go like to the salt flats, and where they know there's a smooth flat surface that's vaster than what the curvature of the Earth should be, and then they try to receive the laser light from one end of the from a vast distance to another vast distance to see if they're both at the exact same height and all this kind of mumbo jumbo, and at the end of the day, it proves that it may prove that the laser met the other laser, but did it really prove at the end of the day the curvature of the Earth? Not really. This argument still goes on, and the only way I could say that we could ever prove one way or the other what the shape of the Earth is if we could somehow physically get to the moon, turn around, and point a camera back down to the Earth from the moon, and see it for ourselves, or physically just go ourselves and look, because we can't trust I don't feel like we can trust NASA to give us accurate information. For whatever reason, they don't want to divulge the real image. They always give us a doctored image, and I don't know why they have to be so deceptive, but they are. And again, I'm not trying to say that the Earth is flat. I'm not trying to say that the Earth is round. I honestly believe that it's, like I said before, it's something beyond our level of comprehension.
Can I say something real quick?
But hold on, I'm almost done. But I do appreciate the fact that you took the time to come up with that idea. And I think it would be I love the fact that you have that you actually came up with that. That's great thinking outside the box there, Lorraine. or outside the flat. You know what I'm trying to say. Go ahead, Hebrew.
No, what I was going to say, it's interesting that you should bring up shadows, because that's another, not a definite way, but that's another really good way that a round earth person likes to prove that we have a round earth. If you look at the shadows of the sun at a certain point, if you look at the shadows, all of the shadows that we've ever seen of the moon bouncing back to the earth, if you look at a shadow, if you look up at the moon and see a shadow of the earth looking up to the moon, most of the time the shadow is going to be round. Unless I said that backwards.
You mean the shadow on the moon is round? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's because the sun is hitting it on one side, and we're at a different angle, and we're looking at it from not directly where the sun is, although if we are, that's called the full moon. And if it's a new moon, we're looking at it from the other side. But, of course, it's going to look curved because you're looking at a sphere, and the light is shining from one direction. And it's the natural line, even though it's a straight line around that sphere, when based on the angle you look at it, it looks like it's curved. You can do this with a flashlight and a tennis ball in your house, preferably at night when no one's around. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want, but it should be dark in the room and you can see.
Here's the thing also, when I was mentioning all the round planets, like, why would all of the planets and the solar system, why would they all be round shape, but the Earth would be a saucer shape? That makes absolutely no logical sense to me whatsoever. I'm sorry, but it really doesn't. And you can see the round planets with just a minimum telescope. I mean, it doesn't even have to be an expensive telescope. You could see some of the planets, not all of them, of course, but I mean, like the ones that are closest to us. Sure, yeah.
But when it comes to that laser light experiment, I don't remember what they did exactly, but I think that they forget that, first of all, the atmosphere can bend the light. So if you're using a laser light, it still might be bent by the atmosphere. I don't remember what their experiment was and what it was supposed to prove. But the other thing, what was I going to say? I have a friend who has a PhD in physics, and she's finishing her PhD in the history and philosophy of science. And when I explained to her about flat earthers, she was saying, well, what would have had to have happened is, for 400 years of scientific observation and calculations, all those people and generations would have to fake the numbers in order to try to fool people today. Now, first of all, why would they do that? And second of all, how would they convince generations and generations of people for 400 years to lie and pretend that this is what we're observing and this is the math to calculate how many hours of daylight we'll have at this time of year, and all those numbers? How would they accomplish that? And why would they try to do that? So that's the part that's befuddling, because what I see is people so hell-bent on proving that they're a good Christian or that they have faith that they're willing to ignore evidence in front of their faith and say, I believe what this book says, or I believe that we don't really know. I just distrust NASA. So I understand that NASA's the one that gave us the photo of Earthrise. Now, I don't know who is saying that these are faked photos, or, I don't know why why are you saying the photos have been tampered with? I don't know what evidence you have for that. But it makes perfect sense to me. If we went up to the moon, you look back, there's Earth, and you can see one half of the Earth is in daylight because that's the side facing the sun at that moment. When they try to say, but there's no stars visible on the moon, it must be fake. They say, well, in daylight here on Earth, you don't see the other stars.
Well,
and
the
that
other,
sun outshines.
yeah, and the other thing is, and I was arguing this with Saji just the other night. Well, not arguing, but talking about it, discussing it. And I said, well, the moon does have its own light source. Like, it does shine. It's got a very shiny surface. And there's a lot of people, their argument is that the shadow that's cast over Neil Armstrong as he's coming down the ladder, that there is a huge shadow in that area. However, in the photo that we see Neil Armstrong, he is very well lit. And that is why they're having an argument as to why the photos have been tampered with, or the video, whatever you want to call it, been tampered with. And I did see something on Mythbusters that covered, and I think I sent that to you, Saji, by the way. But I don't know, man. That is one that I'm still on the fence about, really. And people ask, well, why would they fake a moon landing? And the only answer I have to say to that, the only thing they could really gain from it is they wanted to beat the Russians in the space race, right? So they did have something to gain from it. That's the argument that I would say to people that say, well, why do that? Why fake a moon landing? And why not come out years later after it's all said and done? Because they don't want to have egg on their face would be my answer to that. But this is all just my opinion, and I'm not saying that I don't believe in the moon landing, because I 100% still do until evidence has been presented to me. Otherwise, why wouldn't I? But I still leave room for improvement. I still leave an open mind. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, for sure. And the other reason that the flat earthers say that for the great deception of it, keeping it from us, that it's flat, that it's really flat or whatever, the earth is really flat, is that if you imagine us as a small speck in the vast universe of space, then we're just like it takes away it separates us spiritually from us believing that we are the center of the universe, that we are I'm saying it. I'm trying to find the words. I haven't listened to the argument lately, so I'm not as well versed on it. But something about separating us from God, believing the science versus the religious aspect, because the religious aspect of the earth is that we are under a firmament or some type of dome of protection that the Lord created when He was creating the earth, and the scientific reasoning of changing us into a globe model is to deceive us from the religious aspect of the importance of our existence. So I'm not saying I buy the argument. I'm just saying that is the argument. So don't confuse the messenger with being the message.
Right.
Because I'm not trying to convince anybody that it is or that, or it's not that. I'm being the devil's advocate. I'm putting out there the argument that the talking points that they use, and I want everyone to know I haven't taken a side on it. I can tell that you, Lorraine, that you very strongly believe still that the Earth is a globe, and that it would take something very significant to convince you otherwise. And I can respect that. I totally can respect that. Just the same as I can hear out and understand somebody who has a strong, inner belief that the Earth is flat. And I'm going to. The last thing I want to say about it is that I just don't know, and I'm personally not going to ever let myself get in a heated discussion or a faith-based argument over it, simply because I don't know that in our lifetime we will ever truly know. We will only know what we are told it is, because we will never be able to factually prove it one way or the other. I don't believe in this lifetime, unless there's some type of full disclosure that ever happens, where they do go ahead and announce there's more lands and resources and beings beyond Antarctica, or something crazy like that. So I just want you to know I totally respect your opinion, and I don't have any beef with you whatsoever.
Okay.
Yeah, and I want you to
One
know
is-
also, Lorraine, real
Wait.
quick. I'm sorry, I don't mean to step on you or
Three
anything,
things
but
I wanted to say.
okay,
I've
go
been
go
waiting
ahead.
to say a couple things. Three things. There's a video of the guy who did the longest, tallest parachute jump.
Hmm.
He went up with camera, and up from where he was, you can see the curvature of the Earth from up where he was. Second, when you look at there's video of the moon landing where they were adjusting the camera because it was so bright, because there's no atmosphere on the moon and nothing to dim the sunlight. And at first it was very high contrast and hard to see any detail. So they adjusted the filter on the camera so that they could see what they were doing. So I don't feel that tampering with it. It was so amazingly bright, and they put a filter on the camera so that they could see what was going on, and the people, Neil Armstrong as he's stepping down the ladder and all that stuff. I'd have to go back and look to see what you're talking about. If you're talking about some weird shadow thing.
Hmm.
But there's a video I remember seeing where the footage from that, where they were adjusting that filter to get it right so that it would be clear what they were looking at while they were broadcasting to Earth. Okay, and then the last part, oh my gosh, I hope I remember what it was. There was another gentleman who had a video, and I probably sent it to myself, and it was many months ago, where he said the main thing with flat earthers is they don't have a model of it that works, that explains, well, why would, if this is all a flat disk, how come half the sun is shining on half of it at one time, making it day, and it's dark on the other half? How does it work physically to do that? And that's what he was saying, that they don't have a model yet to explain how their theory works. Whereas here, you believe in the globe Earth, and you evidence.
Yeah, they have division within themselves over what the working model is. Certain ones have a certain model, and other ones have a totally different model. So yeah, they're not even 100% sure of what model they all agree on. That is very true.
The model of the globe Earth very clearly shows it's a round globe. And we can see how the sun is shining from one part, or from one direction. The part closest to it is in daylight, the other part is at night. And at the edge, it's dusk or dawn. That's what I was saying. So I didn't hear what you were saying because I was trying to finish what I was saying.
Oh no, and again, I hear you. I'm not disagreeing with you. I appreciate your perspective very much so, and I'm just still stuck in the middle somewhere. I know that the whole North Star thing throws me off a little bit. The fact that water lays flat throws me off a little bit. I do think they have talking points that do make me scratch my head. But am I convinced that the Earth is flat? No. I just am convinced that there's probably more to it than what we realize. And that's where I'm at now. That's where I stand.
I also asked somebody, how can we know that we went to the moon? And they said, well, they put a reflector up there because they want to take a laser light, shine it toward the reflector, and measure how long it takes to come back so they can figure out the distance between the Earth and the moon because it fluctuates. So if I can get to a planetarium that has a good enough telescope, and I can look with my own eyes through a telescope and be convinced that there's no funny business going on with the staff at the planetarium and the machine itself, if we can look and find that laser and see the car that's parked up there, that should convince people, yeah, we got there, we did it. But I predict even if we found somebody to do this, and even if someone else took another flight out there with cameras running, someone is going to try to discount it and say, "Oh, you're using computer." They'll disagree with it, no matter what evidence you show them.
Oh yeah, you're right, and that's right. It seems like no matter what evidence you find one way or the other, there's going to be a counter argument. And also, they left the Land Rover there, and they planted a flag. There should be someday when they send up another satellite or another mission up there, when they ever get back near the moon again, they should be able to show us the rover and the flag that they planted, right?
Yeah, they should. I'm hoping it's going to be just a telescope that'll help us see that. Because then we don't have to go through all the expense and risk of actually flying up there. We can look. But, anyway, that's that topic. At some point, I want to talk to you about Christy Marie Sheldon. Do you have another few minutes?
Yeah.
Or do you have another caller?
Let me check
Okay.
with my secretary. Joan, do we have oh yeah, I fired her. You're right. I got to check myself, I guess. Oh, goodness. No,
that'll teach you there. To be firing good help.
Right. Oh, hey, I am getting a message though. It says this call will end in 8 minutes. So let me do this. Let me go ahead and restart, and you could stay. You can call back in, okay?
All right. I guess I can.
I have to reset it, and then.
Don't hang up, Lorraine. It's possible that when he resets it, he can just bring you right back in. And then if you can't, then you can call back.
Right. Just stay on the line. All right, here we go. I hate this stupid time restraint crap. No, I don't want to upgrade. Let me get it. Sorry, guys. Okay, let me restart the conference again. Stupid thing.
Not while we're on the air, but sometime when we're not on the air, you may want to do the upgrade because then you might not have the time constraint.
Well, I may not want to pay for the upgrade. You know what I'm saying?
I know, but everybody else has a free one, then they don't have a time constraint.
I know that, sir. Let's see if Lorraine is there though. So that was no big deal. That was nothing. Lorraine, hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, you're even louder than you were before. Heck yeah.
Oh, good. All right, yeah, it hung up on me, so I just called back. And it was the same code and all that. Okay.
Cool.
Here's because when I call, I try to be helpful and refer people to things that have helped me or that are interesting at the least.
Mm-hmm.
And for many years, I was suffering with a horrible lack of money, lack of steady employment, lack of steady income, and all that. And it's very hard to deal with that when it goes on for a very long time. So I happened to, on Facebook, there's a group called Signer Minds, and it's a company a man named Vishen started, and it's about education and the latest in any kind of topic that they think is interesting. And so he had talked about Christine Marie Sheldon, who was a young woman who helps him a lot, and what she does is to do like a spiritual energy work with people to help them remove their blocks to abundance.
Mm-hmm.
And for a long time, I even felt that I had blocks to abundance just because it's just very hard for me to even feel or believe that I would ever have money, in a normal, steady job and all that. So anyway, so she was having a program, and it was like 22 sessions that she recorded. They were done live with people calling in, like on a regular internet conference. And she set the intention before she did them that when people even just heard the recording, they would have the same effect as if they had participated live. So she was offering, this was back in literally like 2010, 2011. She was offering her course, all 22 courses, classes, and sessions for, I don't know, $200-something. And I didn't have the money. I was like, I can't afford that. And so somehow, I don't know how or what, but she decided that at some point to offer it to people for $1. I think, or maybe it was $5. Anyway, so I got it, and I was able to download all the recordings on my computer, and I took my time listening to them. Well, the main thing is I want people to think about and maybe go and look, search her out and find out, is that we pick up negative ideas about money and abundance and wealth, starting in childhood, based on the attitudes that parents have and attitudes society has, or even like the book they quote in the Bible saying, it's harder for a rich man to get into heaven than for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle.
Mm-hmm.
So turns out what I've heard is that people misinterpreted that line, that sentence, and that they weren't saying, oh, it's impossible to get into heaven if you're rich. They were actually talking about an opening in rock that was called the eye of the needle because it was shaped like an eye of a needle.
Mm-hmm.
And camels could go through, they just had to duck their head. So it wasn't this, if you didn't understand the meaning of that sentence, you're going to interpret that it means being rich is bad. So what she helped me realize is, yeah, we take on a lot of this negative talk and thinking from our parents. I go into great painful detail about what my parents would say and do with money.
Here's the thing, though. The eye of a needle, back then, it meant like a cave or a cavern of some sort. Is that what it was back then?
Yeah, it was apparently an opening in rock that was shaped like an eye of a needle, and it was hard. The camels would have to duck their head to go through it because it was lower. But it wasn't impossible for them to go through it. It was just a phrase, and it got misinterpreted.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, the good news is, as I listened to these sessions, even the first time I listened, I was getting emotional, and they were on Facebook, so you could chat with them if you needed to. I said, why am I getting emotional and crying? And they said, it could be because you're already sensing the energy and you're going to, get released from it. And I even would feel like a buzz around my head.
Well,
the session was going on. Huh?
You know what they say? They say that it's not the money is not the root of all evil. It's having all money is the root of all evil because it makes you powerful and corrupt. I think that's why they say that. Because
maybe, but the fact is, there's been a lot of people with money who do good. There was a woman who was a millionaire, and she gave away most of her money to help the poor and the homeless. Do you know who that was?
Who was that?
Mother Teresa. Christy even pointed out, did you know she was a millionaire? People liked her causes, and they gave her that much money. And that's what she did with the money. So it doesn't, anyway, that's just one example.
There's a lot of things also that come out here lately on Mother Teresa, that she wasn't quite the good Samaritan that everyone made her out to be. But I'm not going to get into that because that's just hearsay,
Yeah, I haven't studied her life. I just know the example that she gave. So
right.
The thing is, as I listen to the sessions, it helps a lot. And she even talks about manifesting things. And there's a book also that I read years ago called Living with Joy. And it was a woman channeled a spirit named Oren. But one thing that I took from that book was saying, if you have a thought or an idea, or you express a desire here, in this realm, it starts working in the higher levels of your consciousness and your being, higher dimensions, I believe. Like the dimension of thought, for example, that's like a higher dimension than just here in 3D. So you have a desire, you express it, it starts working in that higher realms, and it takes a while to show up and manifest on Earth. Whereas you're like, hey, I wanted this type of car, and look, there's an ad for it. I'm going to go look and check and see if this is the exact car I want. Or, hey, I wanted to meet someone who worked in show business, And here's a guy who does theater production. This is great, whatever your goal is. So years ago, I'd heard that. Well, with Christy, it was very similar. And a couple times, I was able to manifest things because I was really broke, and I said, gosh, these shoes are wearing out. I need to get some shoes. And then later I was at this event, a church event, and this man said, Lorraine, what size shoe do you wear? I told him, and he said, well, why don't you try these on? And he'd gotten them at a garage sale. And so I tried these shoes on. They fit, and I'm not easy to fit with shoes because my feet are, according to the shoe industry, my feet are a little wide. Anyway.
I am going to have to interject here just for 1 second, and I just want to give you my opinion, and keep in mind, this is just my opinion. But my opinion is, why do you have to manifest anything? If you ask God for something, he knows what your needs are, even before you do. And it says that in the Bible. And,
okay, then how
he'll make sure your needs are met, not your wants, not your desires. I'm just saying.
There's nothing wrong with desire.
Well,
how come the shoes
depending
didn't
on
magically show up? If God knew the shoes were wearing out and there were holes in the bottom of them, and I mean, they bought them for $6 at a thrift store. That's how cheap those shoes were.
The devil can
how come the shoes didn't show up?
The devil can give us things that we want too. It just we have to pay a certain price for it.
Well, I didn't pay any price
I'm just
for those
saying.
2 pairs of shoes. They were free. They were exactly what I needed at the time.
Well, that's
and
not.
That was one instance. There was another instance. I needed. It was winter. All my winter clothes were in storage, and I was broke. And so when you haven't paid your bill, they lock. You can't get into your storage because that's how they help you make sure that you pay your bill. So I needed gloves, and I was like, gosh, I need some gloves. So one day I was walking a route I don't normally walk, and something was in the road, and it was a pair of gloves, dirty and half frozen into the pavement. I cleaned them up, and they were my size, and they were perfect. So that's just 2 examples. I'm suggesting to people that they check out Christy Marie Sheldon, and regardless of whether you think God did it, or you did it, or the angels did it, or whatever, the point is, I've got a lot of help from listening to what she said, the energy work that she does, trying to get rid of the negative programming regarding money and abundance that I've suffered with my whole life based on the 2 parents I had and the large family I grew up in. And I just want to suggest this to people because I feel if I'm going to call in, I want to talk about things that are helpful.
Yeah.
And I don't believe the devil brought me 2 pairs of shoes and a pair of gloves.
Well, what I meant by price a while ago, I wasn't talking about like a price. I'm talking about like other. Well, Saji knows what I'm talking about.
Well, I think what she's trying to say is this particular thing. It was very helpful for you in particular, Lorraine, and you're just trying to pay it forward and share so that somebody else can hopefully have the same positive experience that you had. And what is the name of the program again?
Well, her name is Christy Marie Sheldon. And you can probably find her, if you Google online, you can find her. But the Facebook group for the company is Finer Minds, M-I-N-D-S. Here's the thing you know, too. Her own teaching isn't, the devil will bring you this. Her teaching is the higher self, the creator, source, wants you to have, we're in a world of abundance. There's an abundance of oxygen. There's an abundance of water. We have everything we need on this planet. And of course, God wants you to have what you need in life. And what will make you happy and be happy. Now, we have blocks to it. Because of our attitudes toward it, telling ourselves having money is bad and wrong, then our soul is not going to let us have a lot of money because we can't be at cross purposes with what we think and believe. So, if you listen to her, you'll hear her say source or God, but she uses the word source. So don't think that it's coming from anything negative.
You're breaking up pretty bad there, Lorraine.
Yes,
But
what do you want to have in life? What?
Reggie, your end's doing something, brother.
yeah, I feel like okay. I just had it's just real choppy for me to hear, so
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
your end's doing something, but I just want to point out that I disagree with what you're saying, and I absolutely don't think that we should be praying to Wicca or to the goddess
Nobody's praying to
or to
Wicca.
anything like that. I'm just
What did I say?
giving my
What I said? Do you think I'm saying pray to Wicca?
well.
I
It
didn't
just
mention Wicca at all.
seems like the this woman gets her powers through something that's not good. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I don't even know who she is to have an opinion one way or the other. I think you're just trying to say you had a positive experience from it and you wanted people to know about it in case they were interested in it too. And I don't know what her ideologies are. I don't know what her religion is, so I don't have a preconceived concept of it, but I do know that positive thinking can go a long way in making your life better. I agree with that. So if that's what it's about, then that's cool.
And I gotta strongly disagree with what he just said, but you know, I'm not saying I don't respect your opinion.
Oh my gosh, I need shoes.
That's your opinion.
I need to get some shoes, and shoes show up. That it's bad and wrong. It's not bad or wrong. It's good and right that I was able to find shoes when I needed them, and I had no money to buy shoes. Don't you understand that?
Well, yeah, I
can
can
listen to that and think it's negative. Tells me you were raised in fear. That
No.
you think that praying to God only works one particular way. You have to say these words and do it this way.
No, that's not what I said.
Happens for you, you've got to doubt it because it may not be coming from God. It might be coming from the devil. What a horrible thing to think. And if God knew what my needs were, then why weren't the shoes and the gloves provided? Why didn't they show up sooner? Because I had for a while not had the shoes I needed and the gloves I needed.
That's not.
It's so.
No, that's not what I said. I didn't say it did come from the devil. I said you can ask the devil for stuff too, and he'll give them to you. That's what I was saying.
But that's not who I asked. I didn't ask anyone called the devil.
Well, no, I know that. I'm not.
I just expressed. Okay, but why the hell bring it up, here, bro? Why bring up the big bad negative guy that you're all talking about being afraid of? You're creating this guy called the devil. The more you talk about this person or entity or whatever it is, why even bring him up or it up?
I'm just saying
I'm trying to help you people. Oh, look out. Lorraine got shoes she needed and gloves when she had no money to buy them. Oh, look out. The devil might bring you stuff too. Really? Well?
We've got... Well, I'm just...
that makes no sense.
Stating
that's
my...
your fear talking.
No, that's...
So if I get what I need in life, oh, look out. It might be the devil bringing you something. Or you got to be wary of how you get it, what you get.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why you went to the devil for sure either, man. But
no,
I do.
I'm saying
I do know that you're trying to just share a positive experience, Lorraine, and I can appreciate that in itself. I don't know how we got to talking about the devil or God or anything like that based on what you're trying to do there, but I do appreciate the fact that you're calling and trying to share your positive experience with us. And
thank you.
That's really all I got to say about it. And I guess we'll just all agree to disagree on the points we disagree on. But I understand what you're trying to say, and I appreciate your call.
Okay, thanks. And I have to go because I have to get up for work.
All right. Well, thank you for calling, Lorraine.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye. So here we are. Now, if you go ahead and say whatever it is you wanted to say, bro. I mean, I don't know what the God or devil has to do with what she was talking about, but if that's something you want to talk about, I'm all ears, my friend.
Well, no. What I was saying was she's talking about praying to, well, maybe not praying. Maybe that's not the right word.
Yeah, I didn't pick up any religious context off of her story.
Asking for something from a human being who gets their powers from a higher power. The only being that has higher powers is Jesus, is God.
Well, I don't disagree with that. And I didn't pick up that she was getting powers. Did she say she was getting powers?
Well, not in those words, no. Something
I think
about
maybe you were
that woman
getting something that, like, you thought she might have said something she didn't say. Because I didn't pick up any of that stuff that you're referring to. I didn't get that at all. I mean, I'm just saying I didn't hear it. I mean, maybe, but it was choppy. I was having a hard time understanding what she was saying. So I just didn't hear anything religious about the message that she was saying. That's why I'm wondering how it turned into a religious.
Well, no, she was saying she was getting this woman, whoever she was. What was her name again? I'm sorry.
I don't remember. I didn't write it down. But she said it was like some type of like a positive thinking program where you change your outlook on the way you perceive things instead of having a negative connotation toward achieving your goals. You take a new outlook and approach it from a different perspective. That in itself I don't have a problem with. Now if we're talking about some type of religious thing and where it's like you changing your belief system and the Lord and Jesus and all that, then of course I disagree with that. But I didn't hear anything like that mentioned. That's why I was wondering how you came to that conclusion.
Well, no, the only thing I said was she's talking about going to using your inner being or inner power or something like that. Now, to me, that means that you're saying that you ultimately have the power to positive thought to get the things that you want. And what I was saying in response to that was that you got to be careful where you're getting your power to positive thought, because that could mean a lot of things. And the devil can give you whatever you want, is what I was just trying to make a comparison, saying that the devil give you whatever you want, but it comes with a price, and the price is,
again, I mean, I'm not arguing what you're saying. I just don't see how it applied to what she was saying.
What I was saying was you can get the same thing through prayer, and I have experienced that before. I mean,
there's nothing, but prayer's good, yes.
I have been in the store where I got all my items up to the counter, and I didn't have enough money to pay for it, and I was going to take all those items back, and somebody standing in line behind me said, "Here, let me pay for this. I'll pay for it." And I was like, no, you don't have to do that. But they insisted, and I wasn't going to. And then I said it again, but I wasn't going to go on insisting. So she paid for all my stuff, and I thanked her and said, "I'll pass it forward." And to me, that wasn't the work of willpower or some sort of mental powers of any kind. I thought that was the work of the Holy Spirit, in my opinion.
That's a great example of that. Let me give you a different idea of what, like, the way I'm put my perspective on how I can apply a different context. Okay, let's say you're unemployed. Okay, and your unemployment checks are getting ready to run out, and you're going to bed that night and you're praying to the Lord that He will somehow find a new job before your unemployment checks, leave, and then you wake up that next morning and you pray again before you start your day, and you go and you put your boots on and your best shirt and your best pair of pants, and you go out and you start looking for that job. Now, that person is taking their own inner positive will and applying it to physically getting out there and looking for a job. And that person may find a job that day. And then you have the other person who did the exact same thing and did the exact same prayers, but didn't get up and put their shirt on and their pants on and get up and physically have the will to go look for that job. That person is a lot less likely to come home that day with a job. Even though you want to pray for it, you still have to apply some sort of will and some type of positive outlook and believing in yourself that you can get up and get dressed and get out and go do it. Where a lot of people are stuck in a mentality of feeling like they can't get up and physically find their own inner strength to get up there. And let's say you get the job and it's super frustrating. You're not really meeting the quotas, and you're for fear of getting fired or that you're going to get laid off or whatever because you're just not meeting the standard of the job, and you have to somehow find a way to overcome that. You have to maybe put in a little bit of extra effort or extra will and positive and maintain a positive outlook, or you might just say forget it and just give up and just quit going. I mean, there is a point where you have to find you have to apply your own personal sense of perseverance of overcoming. It also applies in life. I mean, yeah, I agree that you that same person, but here's where the paradigm occurs. Now you have two people that are in that situation, and one person is coming home and living righteous with God and doing the things they're supposed to do, and the other person is coming home and not reaching, praying to Jesus and doing the things that the Bible tells you to do. That person has a lot less likely to have manifest things happen in their life, generally speaking, but the person that's doing both is definitely the person who's most likely to succeed. Do you agree or disagree?
Here's the thing. I think we're just talking circles around this subject. So what I did do while she was talking, I did this earlier. I looked up how many times did we go to the moon, and apparently we went to the moon 6 other times after the initial moon landing. Now my question is,
you know what? I don't remember those times. I think that's a Mandela effect.
Yeah, it is a Mandela effect. It's an older Mandela effect, but it definitely is. You're right. But it does. What I looked up while you guys were talking, because when you were talking earlier, you were talking about how come they didn't go back and pick up their Land Rover or whatever, and it's a good question, because if we went to the moon 6 times after the initial so-called moon landing, then why didn't they pick up that Land Rover when they went back?
I didn't say pick it up. I said it's still there.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I'm saying it's still there and the flag's still there.
Right.
So we should be able to take a picture of it if it's still there.
Right.
I didn't question whether or not they should bring it back. I didn't think they ever intended to bring it back, because it would be just more weight to have to bring back.
The thing is, yeah, okay. I thought you were saying, like, why haven't we gone back? And if we have gone back, how come we didn't get it? Okay. I see what
But
you're
it
saying.
is interesting that we've been to the moon 6 times, and I only recall maybe 2 at most.
Oh yeah.
I know the time when Buzz Aldrin, landed first big small step for man, huge step for mankind. That was the first time, and maybe a second time happened, and but 6 times we actually put boots on the moon. I did not know that happened.
I don't know if boots were on the moon, or if we just flew around, circled around it. I don't know why they would just circle around it, not land. But I don't, I don't know. I do know what I looked up. It said 6 other times, and I only remember the one time. And I do know that it is a Mandela effect. So that's 4 Mandela effects we mentioned on the show, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, yeah.
So it is interesting nonetheless, and I'm glad we had that conversation tonight about the Earth versus the flat Earth and going to the moon and not going to the moon. It all boils down to one thing, and I think you summarized it best when you said that we will never truly ever find out whether the Earth is flat or it's round or we went to the moon or didn't go to the moon until that day. The good Lord takes our bodies and sucks us up into the air, and we were talking about suction and all that earlier, but yeah, and then we ask him the worthy questions. Did we go to the moon? Did the United States of America go to the moon? Did is the Earth flat around? That would be some interesting questions to ask God.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I want to also mention that we've talked about some controversial stuff tonight. I mean, and we don't always 100% agree with each other. But what I do want to take my takeaway is I want you to know that even with our caller Lorraine, even though you disagreed with the message that she was trying to send, and I think that something got lost in translation there, and I feel bad that I wasn't able to hear everything she said. But the point is I'm trying to make is that we all can respectfully have a disagreement and still respect each other and love each other, and we don't always have to see things exactly the same way. And so that's an important detail, to be able to have a different perspective, a different point of view, a different outlook, and still be willing to talk respectfully to each other, and not and the takeaway is that we could still we learn from all of that. So I don't know. I just want us to. I think it's great that we're able to have, even though we may have a different outlook, we can still respectfully have the conversation and benefit from just having the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I did misinterpret what she was saying, and I think it goes both ways too. I think a lot of people are misinterpreting what I was saying as well. Is that, I mean, I don't want to go into the whole thing again, but
yeah, there's no point in doing that.
I think what I was trying to say was, you really got to be careful where the power comes from, and that's all. And I was saying you can get things through prayer. If she thinks that she can get things through positive thinking, then that's cool, man.
Well, of course you can. You need both in your life, and not just one, not just the other. You even though you may want to, it's good to pray, and that's the best thing to do that you can do for yourself, as far as being strong in your faith and praying to the Lord. But you still have to, end of the day, get up and go do it. It ain't going to just happen magically. The bank just money deposits. You have to have the will and determination to get out there and go get it as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But with that being said, I do believe tonight is movie night there over in the good old Scare Performance channel.
Yep, I do believe. I don't know. I haven't even checked to see what's going on. I've been busy doing this show that I do on Sunday nights called Shifty Sunday.
Oh, on this show?
Yeah, this show.
Oh, wow.
That one with the cool new intro, I might add.
Oh, yeah, it is. It is definitely it's that. But you know what? I think a lot of people are excited to see what Scare Performance might be showing. So what we're going to do now at this time is do roll call. We'll do one final shout out, and then I say we slap a jug or a cork on this jug and call the night. What do you think?
I couldn't agree with you more.
Cool. It looks like Euler Greg's done a lot of talking here tonight. Cool to see him back. We haven't seen him in a while. We got Eddie Von Keen, the real one. Michael Fontaine back with his wrench.
Michael Fontaine. I'm glad he found his wrench, or that I found his wrench. Yeah. Either way, I'm just glad he's here and that he's got his wrench.
I hope he holds on to it.
Yeah, no, right?
Lorraine Moore with that wonderful phone call. It was a good phone call, by the way. I won't argue with that. Let's see here. Lorraine Lamore. Did I mention? Yeah, I mentioned. CJ Wood is in the house. She says good night, all. She's saying good night to us.
All right.
Our favorite lurkers, Zombie Cat Cub, is in the house as well.
All right.
And at the very beginning of the show, we had the ever so lovely Catherine Snows.
All right. And did you make sure she's good to go on her? People could see. We should have checked to see if people could see her chat.
Well, she was here a long time ago. Oh, how could I be so forgetful? Good old System Failure was here with his crew. And going way back, we got the ever so wonderful Paul Johnstone was here as well.
Awesome.
So, I got to tell you, Saji, it's been a wonderful show. I don't think you could have. Oh, and Fogarty Phillip comes in at the last minute. Good to see him. Me and the good old Philster go way back.
Yeah, that's what I understand. Yeah, back to the Nixon years.
Well, he was the one that was shining the flashlight in Nixon's window and saw what they were doing and called the police on them.
Yeah. I already semi-famous for that.
Yeah, I think so. No, but man, I gotta say, with all the controversy that surrounded us tonight, I did have a good time. It's great to be back here on Shifty Sunday with our normal amount of viewers, and I do appreciate each and every one of you guys. I really do. And sometimes I may state a strong opinion, and I may have an opinion about things, but with all that being said, I think it's important that we all do have opinions, and I love each and every one of your opinions. They do matter to me. Just saying that. So, Saji, did you have anything else you wanted to present for us?
No, I just wanted to thank everybody for being here. Wanted to thank you for allowing me to be your partner on this platform that we got. I hope that everybody enjoyed the show, and look forward to seeing you next time.
All right, that's a good night for me and for everyone here at Shifty Sunday. We would like to wish you all a good night and sweet dreams, everybody. Oh, and Michael Fontaine said he's going camping here pretty soon, so that's pretty awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Michael Fontaine. And we'll see all you guys on Taco Tuesday. Good night, everybody.